Hello and welcome to my channel. It's Linda from lindaspapercraft.co.uk and we're in week 2 of April 2025's coffee and card using the birthday celebration bundle. And this week I am doing a book fold card. Well, it's a book binder card, so this bit here is stuck down. And on this one I did a 25th birthday. I'm actually going to do a 70th. And now this week I'm using the silver gems from the metallic gems that I've sent you. So I've sent you a strip. I am using 3, but you do need to save one of them because I am using it in a couple of weeks, because on week 4 we are making this, which is a little gift box, which obviously matches the card. Okay, so, and just, oh, you have to take the ribbon off if you want to open it, Linda. So the ribbon slides off and then it opens up to a lovely size gift box. And I think, well, let me get my measurements out. All the measurements as ever for all my cards are on the details below. Yeah, so it's 8 by 10 by 4, and the original design is from the Queen of Boxes, Pootles, who has a huge following on YouTube, but she does do some amazing boxes. So she's a YouTube guru. So, but she's always, if ever I want to make a box, that's where I start. And I just wanted something that was like this, that rolled up just one piece. So it's just one piece, really simple to make. And I've just put the ribbon on because the only problem with this box is these edges do tend to gape a little bit, so I've just put the ribbon on just to hold it on. And then I've used the banner die to make a little tag, and obviously I've used the silver there to cover it up. So that's why we don't use them for anything else, because you need it for project 4. And the reason that's project 4 and not project 3 is I design and then make up the kits as I'm going along, and I decided after I'd make card 3 that I'd make a box to match this. Sorry. Right, let's go. So nice little greeting inside as well. So we've got a happy birthday inside. So in your kit you will have, here we go. So I have raised up the vellum by using double-sided foam, sticky on foam, which is a Stampin' Up product in the catalogue, is in the new catalogue, and you can die cut this and it doesn't squish. So what I've done is I've die cut the number out of card and separately out of foam, and the foam is behind the circle. I'm not sure if you can see it from there. So it's behind the 25, so it's adhering the vellum without it showing. So, which is the problem with vellum. If you use wet glue or tape or anything like that, you can see it. So we're always trying to find ways to stick vellum onto card without it showing. So you've got a small piece here to go inside, measurements down below, but it is a 9.5 centimetre square. Then you've got a piece of designer series paper that you're going to cut up, and then a square of designer series paper which is going to go on this piece. Now I've put in a scrap of Lost Lagoon, and I've chopped a little corner off. That's for your numbers, because some of the, because I've just gone to my scrap drawer and got them out, or my scrap file actually, some of them look more square than others, so I just wanted to make sure you knew that was the die cutting because it's got a corner off. And I've cut you a vellum circle from the Spotlight on Nature dies, circle dies, and then I've wrapped you some ribbon around your card because it was going everywhere. This is half a sheet of A4 cut lengthways, so it's 10.5 centimetres by 29.7, scored 14.85, and yeah, 10.5. So that's at 10.5 from here. Okay, so I'll show you how I did the card. Paper. Now you can see on here there's a corner of that paper, you can see the other side, so we've got stripy and then flowers. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to do that so it works, because it is trial and error. Didn't work for the first time, it wouldn't fit, and I couldn't work out why, and then I realised that you have to do it at 45 degrees. If you do it any other angle it's not going to fit, so don't panic, it's no complicated maths. So you're going to chop the corner off. So what you're actually going to do is pick a line where you want to call. So I'm round about 3/4 of an inch here actually. So that's going to give me quite a big corner, but you can pick what you want. So I've lined up the 2 corners on the lines on my trimmer, okay? So they are on the 3/4 of an inch line, okay? And you hold that down, get your blade, cut it across, okay? So because that's now, we know that's 45 degrees. When you do that, it's still a square. So I did work it out fairly quickly. I think I only managed to waste 1 square of designer series paper when I just randomly cut it and then thought, oh, wait a minute, that's not going to work. So I am just going to glue. So you can do, you can pick which side you want as your main, if you want the stripes or the flowers. I've done quite a few of cards with the flower stripes, which is why I've gone for flowers this time. And I'm sticking that on the square piece, just centering it up. There we go. And then I'm just going to glue that second piece in place, and I'm going to put glue on the flowery side so the stripy side shows. And you can then put that corner anywhere you like. I'm going to put it top left again, because I think it does tend to draw the eye up there. Okay. There we go, and that just fits perfectly. Oops, providing you don't slide it. There we go. Okay. Right, so I'll pop that to one side to dry, and I'll do my die cutting. So I'm going to cut 70 this time. So I'm going to start with my Lost Lagoon. Let's get the die cutting machine out. So I'm going to die cut the 7 and 0 first. So if you are interested, trying to see, I know I've written it down somewhere. DSP. Everyday Happiness is the designer series paper. Unfortunately, this will be going out at the end of April, so do have a look. It could well be on the last chance list. As I say, at time of filming, the last chance list wasn't out, so that we didn't know what we were going to be getting the discounts on, which is what we're interested in, obviously. I'll pop that out. Get my 7. I love it. It's a European 7 with the little cross on it. As I say, I do like the font on these numbers. And then we're popping that back round, and now putting our 0 and our 7 on our double-sided sticky foam sheets. These are continuing in the new catalogue, and they are quite useful to have. I'm just going to go through a couple of times because it's quite thick. Okay, and I did those second because I need them after I have done the Lost Lagoon numbers. So I didn't, because once you start taking the dies off, quite often the backing comes off as well. Right, so we have a 70, and somewhere amongst we have a vellum circle. There it is. So I'm going to stick these on with normal wet glue. Going with the O is that way, and I'm actually going to pop this. Not going to help or hinder. That's going to hinder, isn't it? I'm going to put it on my magnetic sheet, actually. No, well, because my dies are still there, just so you can see what I'm doing. Silicone matte would be good. That would be better because it doesn't move. Oh, this is going to be a long one. I'm sorry. For a second there, I thought it wasn't videoing at all. Minor panic. Right, so if we pop that on there, I can see the vellum circle better, and also I can see my numbers. So I position both of them and then stick them on one at a time. So I'm going to pop a 7 off, get my pin glue. And I'm just putting on the ends a few roundabout, sparing, because the wet glue does warp your vellum slightly, so don't put loads on. If you've got one of those dot adhesives, you can use one of those dot rollers. You don't want to put too much. When you have, you need to get it off as soon as you can. There we go, and then we'll put some on the 0. And again, little dots. And the one thing with the silicone mat is if you feel you've got too much glue on, you can just flip it, and I think that dot on the end is a bit too much, and I'm just going to take some of it off onto there, a little bit more. There we go. And then that will just wipe off, or I'll leave it to dry and wash it off later. Okay, and then we're going to put the 70. That's brilliant. And now we're going to turn that over and we're going to add our foam. So starting with the O, because that's the one that wanted to come out first, and as you can see, the paper, the backing paper is already finding its way off. So, and it's finding out which one you want to take off first. So you want it face down, so I'm going to take this one off. So the one that was nearest the die needs to come off first. Unfortunately, it's the other one that wants to come off. There we go. And I'm going to line that up now on top of, see, it's desperate to come off as the other layer. Ugh. I am lining that up on top as best I can of the 0. So as much of it as possible is actually behind the die cut. It's just going to bit off course at the top there, so I'm just taking that across. There we go. And as I've said, that's just leapt off. Pop it back on if I can. That's the other way up. It's worth fiddling a bit just to get this lined up properly, and then we'll repeat this with the 7. For a long time I got this and didn't play with it because it can be fiddly, but the effect, particularly, I've used it a lot as a way of raising up vellum behind a die cut, is really helpful. So again, we're coming off the front, the bit that was nearest the die. So disappearing off camera there. There we go. So popping that one off. Again, they're splitting off. Oh. Just take that off completely now. Yep. Okay, so I'm turning that round so that it will go straight behind where the card is. Okay, there you go. Oh, but if I take that off, you'll see there's very little of that piece of foam. I'm just gently lifting it off and just moving it slightly further in so it's less visible. Okay, a little bit of a white background, but when you actually stick it onto here, it's much less obvious. There we go. Okay, so that's how we got the circle on there. So, right. Now, this piece is 9.5 centimetres high. You need to cut off a 9.5 centimetre square. So you can see some on the 9.5 centimetre line. And then this piece needs to be, let's get the tape measure out. I have written it down. So that is a 3.4 centimeters. 3.7 it says on there. Let me just double check. No, it's 3.4. Need to double check. I need to rewrite that on my instructions before I put them on the video. So at 3.4 centimeters, just going to trim that off. And then you can either use both the same side or you can swap it over and use the other side. So on the original, I had the wild wheat showing and the gingham on there. I think let's have a play and see what we think. So pop the ribbon off. Okay, you've got plenty there to tie your knot, because I'd rather waste a bit of ribbon, get a lovely knot, than scrabble about trying to get some not succeeding. So I think I'm going to go all gingham this time. It's a bit more monochrome. Yeah, or you could do that, or you could do that, or you could do that. It's up to you. So I'm going to stick these on. There. Quite a big gap. I confess this is because I'm using up. I think I've barely any of this pack of designer series paper left. I've used it loads. I shall be sad to see it go. Quite a few designer series papers have carried over to the new catalogue, which is unusual, but this one unfortunately hasn't, largely because the wild wheat is going. One of the it's one of the in colours from 2023, so that will be going. Okay, there we go. And then what I'm going to do is, let's get this ribbon where I want it. So I'm just going to line that up sort of in the middle. Well, in the middle. Okay, and then get a piece of sellotape, which I don't have out. Ugh. Too much stuff. So I've got some magic tape, so I'm just going to tape that in the middle where I want it. Okay, so I'm roughly in the middle vertically, and I'm just going to stick that in place there, and then pop some glue on, because I'm going to glue this down. So we're just going to go gluing all the way. A few dots on the ribbon as well. Okay, and I am going to close that and fix that all in place. So just double check the ribbon's where you want it and glue it all down. There you go. So while that's waiting, I'm just going to pop this on, and it was glued flat. Get it the right way up. Okay, I'm just putting that in the middle and adding a couple of the silver, well, 3 of the silver gems. And as I said previously, make sure you save one of the larger silver gems for your box, because you'll need it to cover up a glue dot. So one big one. This time I'm going to pop that in the corner. I've gone the opposite way this time. So I've done 2 little ones at the bottom and 1 at the top, and this time I've done 2 little ones at the top and 1 at the bottom. So have a play. All this is merely suggestions of what to do with the bits I've put in your kit. Okay, so, and now this is all glued down nicely. Extra press either end, and then we're just going to tie this in a knot. So decide roughly where you want your knot, and I'm going to go slightly up from the middle. Okay, and then bring that one over. And then there we go. Okay, so then I'm just going to bring these up together so that we're going to end up with them at the same length. And then trim. And there we go. There's our finished card. Okay, so, as I say, a little bit of a waste, but beautiful knot. Right, so that's this week's done. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all next week. Oh, not finished. Honestly, it's taken so long. I'm assuming I'm done. I just need to stamp the inside now. So, and I did happy, sort of towards the top on this side, and then birthday, which is huge, over to the other side. There we go. How perfect is that? And then that's just going to be stuck on the inside, and then we really are done. So that's going on the 70th. And I look forward to seeing you, showing you how to make the matching box in 2 weeks' time. Right. So I shall see you next week for a different card. Okay. Take care. See you soon. Bye.